don't know if it's because of summer, but I've been feeling the urge to try out new supplies, as you may have noticed from my last video. And Paul Rubens offered to send me their Floral watercolor set of 24 artist grade paints. So I decided to give them a go because I tried their oil pastels before. I even featured them in a video here, and I love them. I also get to try out their 100% cotton hot press watercolor sketchbook in today's video, which is great because I heard a lot about it and it has a lot of positive reviews on Amazon. But there's one big problem. Hi, I'm Françoise. Welcome back to my channel. The problem is I'm very picky with watercolor sketchbooks to begin with, and I do not love hot press papers in general just because I like to paint a lot of landscapes wet and these dry way too fast. So I'm a little bit skeptical what I'm going to be able to do with the sketchbooks. Not as worried about the paints though. The paper is 100% cotton. It is also thick, 300 grams per square meter, which is great, but it is hot press, so we'll see. The paints are floral themed, which is not a subject I love to paint, but it really doesn't matter because it still has all the necessary colors inside. And I like the pink metal box for a change from black, so that's cool. One thing I'm noticing is that the color names is only listed on the paper around the half pans. There's nothing on the pans themselves. So it's better to write the colors down before throwing all the papers away, just a little tip. Some color names are also a bit hard to read sometimes. They're blurry. The quality of the printing isn't consistent from one to the next. And I'm curious to see how these artist grade paints perform for me with this competitive price of $41.99 on Amazon and seeing all the good reviews, because over time I've gotten used to top-notch watercolor paints. Swatching a new set is a nice way to get a feel for the paints, even though it won't reflect what the painting experience could be like on a normal scale. With swatching, I like that I get to assess how vibrant colors are, and I'm noticing the vibrancy isn't consistent either, with some weak colors like the browns, for example, and some rich and beautiful ones like the blues, violet, permanent green, and some others. Overall, the paints are easy to activate and pick up from the brand new pans, and it feels agreeable to paint with, so that's a good thing. Since I'm fortunate enough to also have the sketchbooks today, I'll try these out with this reference photo here. And then I'd like to try the paints out on my favorite paper, Ash Gold Press. So stick around to see how the paints on the Paul Rubens sketchbook and the paints on Ash paper compare. I usually dread using new watercolor sketchbooks because most of the time I'm not satisfied, even when they're cold press. I don't even like the way my wet on dry paintings look like. And the worst thing is that I often end up feeling like I've ruined the whole sketchbook just because I painted on the first page and I don't like it. What I really like here is that Paul Rubens makes it easy to actually remove a page. And that's pretty rare, I find, in watercolor sketchbooks. So it's nice to know, to have that reassurance that you can rip up the page if something goes wrong. I want to pick colors that fit my reference best and that make me excited to paint too. So I'm going to use some of the most vibrant ones here. Magenta, this sea blue, permanent green. I also love how deep and dark this permanent violet is, so I'm going to add that and I'll use it for the shadows. So if you're into landscapes in particular, I find that the best way to test watercolor paper fast is to paint wet in wet, because you get to see how fast it dries and how the paints behave. Features of low quality watercolor papers are that they dry way too fast. Puddles are also more common since they cannot handle water that well, so the water tends to stagnate on the surface. Drying lines and blotches might form as the painting starts to dry for all these reasons. And the colors might look less appealing too. And that's why I always insist on using high quality papers, which is the reason why I want to try those paints out on 2 different papers. And I'm going into my first painting here not feeling very confident. First thing I'm noticing is that drawing in the sketchbook and even erasing feels easy and nice. but I can see how smooth this is and how fast it'll dry since it's hot press. So I decided I'm going to use masking fluid for the rocks, and this is an additional way to test how this paper reacts. Some papers don't like masking fluid too much and they will tear when you try and remove it. This is the moment of truth, and to be honest, I don't think I picked the right subject for a hot press paper like this one. And it's obvious here to me how little water the paper absorbs as I'm wetting it. After just a few strokes, it already seems saturated. And yes, when I apply the paint, it looks nice and it spreads beautifully, which is great. But I can see all the strokes I'm making, and that's why now you see me moving the paint around with a clean and damp paintbrush to smooth it all out. There is also a weird stain in the middle left part of the sheet that looks like it will stay there, not sure. And now I'm doing the thing that everyone tells you not to do, which is to fiddle with the paint. Normally I do okay with it because I'm used to painting fast and fixing things, and on 100% cotton cold press papers I have no trouble. But here clearly the paper is enough with water, it just wants to dry and be left alone, and all I'm doing is lifting paints in places and creating drying stains here and there. So far this is not too surprising with hot press, whether it's a sketchbook or a brand of paper that I'm not used to. A tip here, if this happens, is to dry everything completely, re-wet it because it smoothes the damage out a bit, and then keep working on it. I'm trying to be careful because I see puddles forming here and there, but you can see, I think, how this background has improved with the second layer. There's a noticeable stain towards the horizon line, but that's actually okay because I'll be able to conceal it. I am happy with this base layer, although I can see little things that I don't like, and I can tell it's not resembling one that I'd paint on cold press papers that are also 100% cotton. I can also see some of my strokes. And when it comes to the paints themselves, I didn't notice anything I didn't like, and they come out nicely even when the sheet is dry. Nice colors. Painting on dry I think is manageable on any watercolor paper type. So the worst is behind us now, but remember I use masking fluid and now I need to remove it. I've had a few masking fluid horror stories over time, especially when you use the wrong type of masking fluid, which happened to me with a mulatto pen I would not recommend. And also papers might affect the experience that you have. So I've had it where sometimes the paper will tear off when you try to take it off. Or sometimes the masking fluid won't completely come off, which was the case with that mulatto pen. But here with my usual masking fluid that I like to use and this paper, it's going really well and it's coming off very easily. So now let's hide that stain on the horizon line with a second layer of blue. So in the way that I use watercolor paint, I like it to be transparent in places, and that's the case with these paints here, which is great. I also like them to be more opaque when I add more pigment to the mix to cover up a lighter base layer is what I'm doing here, and it's working out well. I'm noticing, however, that this paper does not love paint to be added onto a base layer, or it's not really it. I should say it doesn't really like my technique of softening a harsh edge from another layer of paint with a clean and damp paintbrush, like I'm doing right now. And I'm saying this because I can see a few marks from my brush strokes appearing. They're subtle though, so for now I'm still imagining that I can pull something off here. I do like that I can mix a nice brown color with magenta and green, which you would expect to be able to do with all watercolors also. It's very easy to mix new colors. And I'm glad I masked the rocks because it's easy now to add my vibrant green into them and also have it melt with the brown color, and it looks great. The paints bleed into each other nicely, and we can see that nice gradient forming between green and brown. Something I really like about this paper is that the paints are easy to lift here. It's convenient to add highlights in the rocks. I'm also happy I selected a dark violet from this paint set because I think it really adds to the painting. I could have mixed magenta and blue to get something similar, but this one from the palette really caught my eye and I know I'll use it again. I'm adding a thick mix of my bright green now on top of the dry rocks to highlight them, this time with not paper white highlights, but with a vibrant color, and it's working great. And I really love this vibrant color for it. Great effect. And I cannot wait to see what I come up with on ash paper now. And something I have to share with you because it's so funny is that first I completely forgot to paint the rocks in the background. I don't know why. But then I was looking at this finished painting 2 minutes after finishing it, which means that I got myself out of the process, which is very important to take a step back on your art. And I was just standing up and I looked and I was like, whoa, this is beautiful. I love like the way the painting looks on this paper. So that was pretty surprising, and that's why I titled the video the way that I did. Because I think the paper, more than the paints, gives a different clean and fresh vibe to my painting style, even though the process wasn't always smooth. Probably also because I'm not used to the paper, and so it's gonna be different. You have to work differently. And now I'm kind of curious to see what the paints themselves are going to look like on ash paper. I will add links to the Floral set in the description of the video if you want to get it. And if you want to paint this specific painting here with the rocks with me, it's on my Patreon in real time and voiceover. I am happy so far with the ash experiment here. I think it's going to be interesting, and I've picked a totally different type of subject, a crashing wave. And I teach this type of wave and many more seascape plots in my latest masterclass. So if you want something that's a little more in depth than my Patreon tutorials and that goes deep into one subject like those waves and anything seascapes, check out the link in the description of the video. Honestly, is there a difference here from painting with my usual Sennelier and Daniel Smith artist grade paints? I think not really. I picked different colors for this project, pretty much all the blues in the palette and also the bright green that I used before, and the process is going great. I don't have any way to say for sure how these paints behave over time, years from now, but I think it's a nice set to own as I have tried paints of the student grade kind before, and even if the paper is way more important in how your experience and outcome will look like, I could always tell artist grade paints perform better. And these clearly do. So thank you, Paul Rubens, for sending these out to me. And guys, remember to check out the links in the description of my video to find them. I can suggest this video next. And if you're still here, thank you for sticking around and see you next time.